my shoes and out the door. 5, I'm alive. 6, 7, 8, feeling great.
Hey all, it's Dr. Noah. Today, to June 2nd, we are opening the cart to purchase our first 2 projects, which happen to be online summits at an incredible price. You'll be able to purchase either the Pain Relief Project, Natural Solutions That Actually Work, or the Longevity and Anti-Aging Project for an awesome price of $17 each, normally $97. Or you can purchase them both for $27. That's nearly 60 interviews with some of the greatest minds in the health and wellness field today, like Rob Wolf, Dr. Terry Walls, Sayer G, Dave Asprey, or Mark Sisson, to name a few. Trust me, their messages and information are as timely today as they were when we did the interviews a few years ago. The cart opens today, May 20th, and will remain open until June 2nd. You can pick them up at our website at www.beyondyourwildestgenes.com, or the direct link will be in the show notes. Enjoy the upcoming podcast. Hello, BYWG tribe. This is Dr. Noah. We wanted to make you aware of our exciting product, book, and supplement of the month for May 2019. Keep in mind, all the links, discount codes, and special offers for the product, book, and supplement will be listed in the show notes and iTunes, posted on social media, in our weekly newsletter, and on our website at www.beyondyourwildestgenes.com at the Listen Now tab. So let's start with the exciting news first. Each and every month, from this month going forward, we are going to, in addition to having the book of the month and product of the month, we're also going to feature a supplement of the month as well. So let's start here first. Layering on top of the exciting news, we have just formulated a brand new supplement, literally a few weeks ago. Got it into production, and now we can offer it up to you, as it addresses something we talk about all the time, and that's the all-important sleep. The new formula is called BYWG's Deep Sleep Assist. This is a specialized combination of scientifically backed herbs, adaptogens, minerals, and amino acids that help you get to sleep, stay asleep, and achieve deeper levels of sleep so you wake rested and renewed. And for those of you who are sensitive to melatonin, this formula is melatonin free. The 10% discount code for May is SLEEP10. It's case sensitive, so it's capital S, lowercase l, EEP, 10. Our May product of the month is a return product, something that I am a huge fan of and have done 3 times so far. That's the Prolon Fasting Mimicking Diet. This 5-day plan includes all the food you need for a 5-day fast, in which you are still eating food, about 600 plus calories a day, and at the same time getting all the benefits of fasting. I love it as a reset, I love it the way it makes me feel, and I love all the other benefits fasting offers. Prolon actually has a Mother's Day and Women's Wellness Month promotion running from May 1st to May 13th that you can all take advantage of by using the link below. The promo includes $25 off a Prolon kit, free shipping, and a free copy of the Longevity Diet book. If you missed this by any chance, from May 14th to the end of the month, using the same link listed below and the code capital B, capital Y, capital W, capital G for a single box, or for a subscription, capital B, capital Y, capital W, capital G, lowercase s, you will receive 10% off your Prolon kit. The best way to learn more about Prolon FMD is to listen to the podcast I did with Dr. Joel Kahn that was released on June 18th, 2018 in the archives on our website at www.beyondyourwildestgenes.com, or the most recent listen will be with Dr. Felice Gersh that will be released May 13th, 2019. Our book of the month is The Essential Oils Hormone Solution, Reclaim Your Energy, Focus, and Lose Weight Naturally by Dr. Maritza Snyder. And you could listen to Dr. Wanda Lee's interview with the author in the BYWG podcast archives on the March 25th, 2019 release. Be awesome and never unawesome. Enjoy the upcoming podcast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Beyond Your Wildest Genes podcast. For this week, I am Dr. Wanda Lee McPhee, and I'm hosting this episode with my guest, Molly Mahar. Molly is the founder of Stratajoy, an online community that has helped thousands of women reclaim joy and meaning in their world, a perfect fit for us at Beyond Your Wildest Genes. She's an entrepreneur, a mama, an adventurer obsessed with taboo topics, got to dig more into that later. Designing personal experiments and the power of the sisterhood. And Molly's superpowers, telling the truth kindly, gathering awesome women together, and yes, reclaiming joy. Some really fabulous things to talk about today. Welcome, Molly.
Thanks, Wanda. I'm so happy to be here.
Well, I know that is just a super small bit of who you are and what you do, but we love to share a little bit about our speakers and our presenters when they come on, because our messages are really powerful when we know where they come from and the people behind them. So tell us a little bit about Molly.
Yes. Well, I'm talking to you all from San Luis Obispo, California, which is halfway between LA and San Francisco. So basically in the middle of nowhere, but on the coast. I wanted to be here in a small town in natural beauty where the goal in life is not to see how hard you could work. And 6 years into this new home, it has been exactly that. So I live with my husband and my 2 kids. I have Max and Juliet. They are almost 7 and almost 5. And I have been a writer and a coach and a mentor and an event leader for 10 years now, which seems crazy and exciting and wonderful.
That's amazing. And I know a little bit of your story about Stratejoy. I mean, you kind of went on your own personal journey, and some of the things you've learned, you've been able to translate really well into sharing with other women, which is really, it's not just book learning per se, but real life.
Yes. Yeah. I laughingly call it my quarter life crisis. I was about 27. Definitely one of those achieving type students, right? Can I be the president or the boss of this? I will. Grew up in Montana, went to school at Cornell, have a business degree, went into hospitality, was working in like sexy boutique hotels in downtown Seattle, and had a real wake up call one morning. Nothing horrible happened. I got off the bus that I'd been riding for 45 minutes, went to Starbucks and got my giant latte and my pumpkin scone, went to my basement office where I was a sales manager and an event planner, kind of grooming me to be like a director of sales and marketing type, in my like cheap suit, because I was 27, couldn't afford much. Sat down, went to flip my computer on and just thought, what the F am I doing with my life? Like this is what I thought I wanted, this. And said, I need to start over. And that was really scary for someone who always knew what was next. And I didn't know what I wanted. I just didn't want this. And that was the snowball effect. I quit my job. My boyfriend and I traveled around the world for a year, very privileged, eat, pray, love. But I'm so grateful for that trip because it was the start of, these are my gifts. This is who I care about. What do I want to do with it? Like, to really find joy for myself. And there was a big piece of me that was like, I could be doing more in the world than selling men in suits, tiny Coca-Cola bottles for, $5. There's more for me. And that was the beginning of Stratejoy. I wanted to help other women, probably without the trip around the world, be able to think about their life from a bit of a third-party perspective and say, my life, my choices, my joy, how do I do that? And
I think that's key.
Was the start.
I think that's key. I mean, I as a healthcare provider, I see people who don't hear that message, who get to the point where their body, their mind, their spirit is collapsing because they've been ignoring that little voice in their head saying, this is not where you belong, or this is not what you're supposed to be doing, or what else is there? And so, that sort of eats away at your body and your soul after a little while. And having an opportunity to learn that without the health crisis is really amazing.
Yes, I know. I had many women when I started life coaching go, oh, well, honey, there's no girls in your 20s who are going to want to do this. And I was 28. I'm like, oh, I don't want to be 15 years down the road and just coming to this realization that my life is mine, that I can be a sovereign individual without having to fulfill someone else's expectation of me.
And I was grateful for
that.
Yeah. You've seen a lot of that, I'm sure,
Yes. Yeah. And what's been really interesting is, as much as the beginning of my change was very external, right? There was a lot of shedding of things, of my home and my job and kind of this identity I had. that sometimes happens on this journey. And then a lot of the time it's very internal. It's just this complete rearrangement of how you see yourself in the life that you've already created, which was something that surprised me because mine had been a different journey. And that's been really interesting to play with these last couple of years. You don't have to get the divorce, quit the job, start the business, et cetera, all these things that are very sexy on social media. Like, there is so much beautiful work to be done with just how you approach every day. And I'm sure in your line of work, you know this totally, but that was kind of a new piece of where Stratejoy was going as of late.
I think that's actually really kind of a key thing. I hope that came across to everybody listening, because that really struck a chord for me. It's often that sort of fear of, I'm going to have to make some major life change and quit my job in order to be happy, when really it's in there. You just have to uncover some of the secrets to seeing where it is.
Yeah. Yes. I always tell people that may come.
Yeah.
But let's not start with that. Let that be a reflection of what you learn about yourself first on the inside. Right.
So you've been doing this work with women specifically for all of this time. Are there any sort of key themes or challenges that come up over and over again as struggles that women specifically face?
Yeah. One of the ones from the very start that I wanted to address was this lack of having space to be really honest, really vulnerable, really celebratory when things are going right. And this is, at this point, what I use the word sisterhood to describe. And I know that can, rub people different ways. But for me, it's this idea of circling with women in a loving and non-judgmental space. And I do that in person and I do it online. And it's a set of skills, really, that we have to learn, where women aren't competitors, where you can hold so much juxtaposition, right? You can be incredibly capable in this one arena of your life, and then just this baby beginner trying to sort it out over here. And that's normal and that's okay. So trying to craft these spaces where sometimes we're showing up as a beginner, sometimes we're showing up as an expert, where you can really get in touch with your self-awareness, with knowing that you don't necessarily have to do anything about it. Kind of like that, you don't have to get the divorce. You can come to some realizations about your relationship. Great. And having this place to process in real time with people who can witness that and not move always to fix it or to give you the 1, 2, 3 steps of what you should do, to just say, I see you. We're here for you. What do you need from us? I think there's a giant lack of that, out in the world. So that is one thing that I try very hard to create within all my programs, is this place to remember you're not alone, and that you can be witnessed in your brilliance and in your shame, kind of in this confusion piece and in revelations that you're coming to.
Well, and that's one of the things that I enjoyed, is how you put that perspective in place. I want to say it was in the Joy Equation, but it might have been Holiday Cancel. But your cycle,
mm-hmm.
I've seen that over and over again, and of course experienced it myself. And that I thought was a really freeing perspective, that you don't get somewhere, it's a circle.
Yes. Where are you in your circle right now? Let's see if we can do it.
All kinds of places.
Yeah.
And, and that's what because I've done a ton of personal development work over the years. So that's one of the things I've kind of segregated out, is I can be here in this part of my life, and I can be over there in that part of my life, and over here in a completely different way.
Yes.
So it's really good in a lot of ways, like this podcast and the Beyond Your Wildest Genes work that I do. We're really in that growth and discovery and exploring phase, where in my chiropractic practice, I've been doing that for 25 years. That's in that mastery,
total master,
repeated destruction phase, because I keep reinventing that, learning new techniques, or doing that differently. But and then of course at home, my kids are teenagers, so it's different every time you turn around. But it's constantly destructive, I think. So it was, I thought, so much fun to be able to see that cycle and have people appreciate that you never get there and it's all over. Yeah. Or you get there and you have it all. Because when you get there and you have it all, you don't want that anymore.
Yes. So Wanda and I are talking about this just little circle that I have observed that happens to all of us. And I'm sure there's some perfectly scientific, well-researched version of it. But my version of it is unrest, when you're questioning everything, destruction, although people came up with some great names because they were finding that very negative. I like destruction. Destruction where you decide to tear things down. Right? Revisit them. And then there's growth or discovery, and then mastery when you're like, okay, I got this. And mastery is not the end. Mastery just cycles back into unrest. Mm-hmm. It's really useful for me too. I'm actually, I would say in general, in a year of maybe the last year and a half of mastery, where this was the life that I had been creating as of late. And my tendency is when I hit mastery to immediately throw myself into unrest, like, here, oh God, what's next? And I'm trying really hard to not just rest in it, which is kind of what I've tried in the past. Like, let's practice all my gratitude. Let's really treasure this moment. I'm trying to stay here and appreciate it, but deepen my skill set. So like if I don't have any life crisis going on right now, I can do more than just coasting through mastery. I can figure out what pieces of my life that I want to go deeper into, like what gifts I want to work on. So that's kind of where I've been playing with it this year so far.
One of my mentors years ago said, if you're coasting, you're going downhill. So, that's never been a comfortable spot either.
Yes.
Yeah. So there are, I've touched on a couple of things that you do online. There's a number of things. One place that I think a lot of people maybe initially see you is in your 21 Life Skills of the Reclaimed Woman. That's one of your initial offerings, your free training that people can go and, kind of learn a little bit more about the brilliance of Molly and how this sort of work goes. Who is that for?
That is it's for women. My work is specifically for women. I think that training is when you're at one of those places of just not knowing what to do next. Sometimes it's coming from external changes. I get a lot of women in transitions in their life, whether that transition is I'm pregnant, I'm entering this journey of motherhood, or the kids are leaving the house, empty nesters. Okay, I have this whole new space. Marriages, divorces, a lot of the external things can spark this idea of wanting to go deeper and connect with who I am right now. The other place I see entry for this is really this idea of, my life is beautiful. Like I have what I always wanted or thought I wanted, but feeling maybe not that it's not enough, but that there's space for more. And so the 21 Life Skills is really just this quick introduction to here are 21 ways of thinking about your life that can help you deepen your experience.
Perfect.
Of what is always there. Yes. And if you want me to read them, I have them in front of me in a giant poster always. I'm happy to go through them.
Well, as much as I would love that, I'm going to let people find that on your website because we've got so many other things to talk about in our little bit of time that we have. So they can read that. They can sign up for that. They can be part of your world online, and we'll have all of that in the show notes. So no trouble. We're not cheating you out of anyone or anything.
They're all there. They're free.
They're all there. They're all there. Let's talk about the things that aren't so easy maybe to access or maybe need a little bit more explanation. Your main program, your big program, the real dig deep with Molly stuff is the Reclamation program. So that's a 10-month journey with you, which I think is amazing because there are so many people out there who have this sort of quick fix mentality when really exploring and learning and growing is a much longer process than a weekend.
Yeah. Well, even these life skills, I always say you could read the list, you could, take the training, but you have to practice them in order to reap any of the rewards. And I work with so many very, very smart women. And I'm like, yes, I understand that you intellectually know, but if you're not doing them, right, if they're not aligned into the way that you live your life and how you talk to yourself in the mirror and, how you greet yourself in the morning, then it doesn't help. Yeah. So yeah, the 10 months is on purpose as a time period for integration.
And maybe that's something we could run through, the 10 topics, the 10 sort of core explorations of reclamation, because I think they do really encapsulate a lot of what people are looking for. So maybe run through those a little bit for me if you would.
Absolutely. So we take a different theme every month and examine it from a bunch of different viewpoints, because the whole point of reclamation is for you to come to your truth. It's not being a little, pretend Molly. It's not being what one of the interviewees said or the authors of the books we read. It is kind of intellectually parsing through enough knowledge and doing enough journaling and experimentation in your life and, discussion in the small group to, by the end of the month, be able to tell me this is what this means to me in my life now. So the topics that we cover, the first two are kind of the umbrellas for the rest of the time together. So we do authenticity, which I understand is a bit cliche as a word, but it still means who are you, right? When everything else is stripped away, what's left? And then the next month we cover is expectations. And that is really a dive into why are you doing what you do? And how are you doing it in a way that feels aligned or congruent for you? That one has definitely taken a turn into the exploration of women in a patriarchy. Like, what is on our shoulders right now? What are we carrying around that we could potentially unload at this point in our life where we have resources and some time to really critically think about those social norms that we're carrying? So those are the first 2 months. And then we go into somatic months, so of the body months, and we do a month of body love, which sometimes turns into simple body neutrality if love feels like too much of a reach, and pleasure, which again can take many different forms. Some people really take it straight up as sexual pleasure, and others spend a lot of their month exploring sensuality, so of the senses pleasure. But those are 2 months where instead of accessing answers from kind of the heady space, like let me think this out, let me reason this out, we practice getting answers from our body, from paying attention to what feels good, to what feels bad, to even knowing how to tap into that, which can be a totally brand new experience for many people. After those 2 months, we go into ritual, which is about connection with self, connection with a higher power, connection with your loved ones, your chosen family, or your family, if that's the case. And then we do creativity, which for me is when it's kind of right in the middle of reclamation, and it's taking everything we've done thus far and saying, how do you become this fully expressed version of yourself? It doesn't necessarily mean, let's learn how to arrange flowers or knit one of those giant blankets with the huge loops, which would be cool. I would like to learn how to knit one of those, or I don't even know what it's called, knitting, whatever it's called. But that's not what creativity is about for me. Sometimes it is the expression of it, but it's your authentic version being fully seen by others, fully expressed in kind of all facets of your life. Let's see, creativity, courage, which is a month of action taking, quick action taking. So we're practicing feeling a fear or an edge and just doing it. And then we kind of top off the year with an exploration into why are you here and what are your gifts. So we do purpose, again, which can mean so many different things to so many different people, but it's really the question of who have you always been? What have you always done? And how does that show up in all areas of your life? job included. And we do power, which means that, the expression of that purpose. How far do you want it to reach? How called do you feel to create change, and at what level? Is it within your family, within your community, within your country, kind of spheres of influences? And we spent a lot of time looking at masculine versus feminine power in that month as well. So the duality there. And then we capped the whole 10 months off with a month of abundance, which is the place where we can talk about money and finances, but there's also a space to talk about enoughness. Like, there is enough. I have enough. I do enough. How do we take everything we've learned about ourselves and really approach the next phase of our evolving life with this idea of I am enough, that I have an abundant life? Or sometimes people play with the question of how good can you take it? All right, I think I did 10. I wasn't counting.
You got them all. You did. You've got and those themes, I think, are interwoven through all of your programs. I mean, I see bits and pieces and chunks of that whenever I'm going back through my holiday council stuff or Joy Equation or on the monthly circle calls. You weave those themes through, and it is unique in how you're able to kind of take that theme and let it be whatever people need it to be. It's not dictatorial, like this is what purpose is and this is how you find your purpose and sit down and do it. It's what does that even mean to you and what do you need from that right now? And it's a very structured and yet open way of approaching some of these pieces.
Yeah. That's exactly right. Yeah. I mean, I'm a fairly type A for the world that I operate in, and the piece that I think of as my job as the guide part of this is to create the structure, right? Give you, an excuse potentially to slow down and go inward. Circles are a very small example of that. One night a month, just carve out 90 minutes for yourself, and I will help you do that. So you're not just sitting down to an empty journal, like, hey self, what's up? Yeah, like, great, here's a prompt. Let me read you a poem. What's your reaction to it? Here's what you could take back with you into your life. And I think of my job as like helping you make sure it happens, because we all have busy lives. We've all got a million things on our plate. That is our life as a modern woman. So here are ways to take these little deep dives into yourself to stay connected.
Yeah, it's very much a blend of that sort of woo-woo side of personal development, which is there and is good, because if there's no sort of deeper emotional basis behind it, it's hard for any kind of action to happen. But it's also the action, the practical, the putting this out in the world, because thinking about it and contemplating your navel isn't enough either. So it's a really nice blend of the two, and I think that's hard to fit together sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's naturally who I am. I probably had to work more on the reflection piece for me. I am a natural action taker, and I can consume a lot of content, which you'll see in my programs. Like, I can't help myself. I try to hold it back. Less content. But I think just what you said, I think we have to have both. You have to know why you're doing it and why it's important. One of the ways of being that I'm operating with this year is the word resourced, which I'm really loving as a reminder that at this point in my personal development work, like, I know the things I need to be doing to take exquisite care of myself, emotionally, physically, spiritually. Like, I know what those practices are. And using the word resourced as a way of how I want to show up this year reminds me, like, just do the things, Molly. Like, go to your journal, get on your yoga mat, get outside in nature, hopefully naked, but, like swimming or hiking the mountain or whatever. Like, you know what to do. Now do them so that you can bring the fullest version, the most energized, congruent version of yourself to the rest of your life, to your work, to your parenting, to your community. So I love that comes across so clearly, because it's absolutely what I'm trying to do.
Well, and that's a challenge for a lot of women, is to maybe carve out that time, or to give themselves the permission to look after themselves, because there are so many other demands, as you said, in a busy life, whether it's your work or your spouse or your kids or your friends or your extended family. There are so many things pulling at that fabric of time that it's sometimes the thread that gets lost is the one that people follow to look after themselves. And that's certainly a message with Beyond Your Wildest Genes we keep trying to come back to, is that you are the master of your destiny, and your genes will express what you put in there. Only 11 to 14% of your genetics is sort of solidly determined. The rest is based on what you allow. And it's so powerful to take that time to both reflect on what you need and then to do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's one thing to know it, another thing to practice it.
So we're running close to the end of our half hour. Let's free reign. What do you want to share with our listeners? There's tons of people out there listening to this in like 107 different countries. So tell them.
Yeah. Okay, here's my get my podium, my little soapbox. I would tell you that one of the easiest ways to listen to what's going on with yourself is to follow the flags of resentment or shoulds, which sounds horribly negative, I understand, but they're very clear, right? If you continually show up to whatever, the PTA meeting, the inclusion circle that you started at your church, I don't care, whatever it is, and you have nothing but resentment, but I should do this, that is a sign that it's not for you, or it's not for you right now, or that there is something going on that needs to be given attention to. And I know so many capable, achieving women who just ignore that because people look up to me, I'm the perfect person to do this, I'm being groomed for this, the expectations are so high. But if you can get quiet and silent enough to listen to those little murmurs, they are telling you something about your life and your choices. We only have so many personal resources, so much time, so much energy, so much attention. And I think this is perfectly in alignment with this podcast. You get to make those choices. I give you the permission slip. I give you the crown. I give you the sovereign queendom, whatever you need. This is your life. No one else is going to do it for you. Yay. Yeah. Exiting soapbox.
And that's a perfect place to end. That is, no one else is going to do it for you. And that comes with a lot of fear for some people, a lot of excitement for others, a lot of mixed feelings in the whole bag. But at the end of the day, it is the truth.
It's a privilege and a responsibility.
It is indeed. It is indeed. So thank you. Thanks everyone for joining us this week on Beyond Your Wildest Genes podcast. Special thanks to Molly Mahar of Stratajoy, stratajoy.com. We will have all of her website links on our show notes, as well as a connection to her Instagram, so you can find out more about her and follow along with her very open book, which is fabulous, because it is rare to find that on social media, where people are so incredibly edited these days.
Yeah. It just takes too much energy for me. And truly, everyone, reach out and say hi. Tell me where you're coming in from, this podcast, and what you're taking with you. I love to know, and I love to connect. So that's a true thing that I enjoy.
Thank you, Molly.
Thanks, Wanda.
And thanks, everyone, for listening. If you like what you hear, if there's someone you're thinking, oh, so-and-so should be listening to this right now, it would be the perfect message for them at the perfect time, pass it on. It is free, as always. We're on YouTube, we're on Spotify, iTunes, on our own website, beyondyourwildestgenes.com. Wherever you like to consume your podcasts and your media, we will be there. So find us, send us, share us. And while you're at the website, feel free to sign up for our free weekly newsletter. We give lots of other references, and we'll have all kinds of different special events listed in there as well. So thank you for joining with us this week. Thank you for sharing in our passion for creating a healthier world, and we hope you join us again for more next week.